Hi there, welcome to TDCatTech. Today I'm looking at the Mixcder E9 closed wireless Bluetooth headphones. These were sent to me by Mixcder to review, and I've been using them now for the last 2 weeks in every bit of listening that I do on headphones. So that's mainly out and about in the street and largely in the office, actually, listening to music in the office, and for conference calls at work or just any calls at work. So these have had some fairly heavy use so far over the last 2 weeks, and these are my thoughts. I'm not going to go into super fine detail around how these work, because they're just Bluetooth headphones. You know, Bluetooth headphones in 2019 are so common, and most people probably know how they work. So let's just get on with how well they do what they do, rather than exactly what they do. Firstly, let's talk about the design of the headphones themselves. Well, it's a pretty minimalist design. Some might even say it's a little bit boring and a little bit bland. I actually really like the design. It's very simple, functional, it's no nonsense, and while the headphones themselves aren't going to really make any kind of major fashion statement, the fact that they are no nonsense kind of makes a statement in its own right. So I like them for that. Arguably a more masculine design because of the fact they protrude so far out and they are quite large, so they work better on a larger head rather than a smaller head. So you're not going to rule them out. I'm not going to rule out females buying these at all. I'm just saying that the design is possibly more masculine. Right, let's talk about functionality. You've got all the standard buttons on here. You've got your power button, volume up and down, all the usual stuff. They charge via USB, and on the other side, they have the button for the active noise cancellation. The problem with this is it's on a separate side, and it's a physical switch. It's a physical on-off switch, and I find that really strange. In fact, it's something that annoys me. I've seen this on other kind of budget headphones, and I have found myself leaving it on. I've tried to do a battery test on these and see how long they will last, but I've actually left it on both times and I've had to come back and completely recharge the batteries because of the fact that I've turned them off at the main switch here and left this on. So I'm not a fan of that being on the other side there, but it does what it's supposed to do, and it's great for kind of testing because you can easily just switch it on, off, and just hear the difference between the noise cancellation being there and not being there. So in that way, I suppose it works okay. Storage-wise, they fold in two different ways. You can either fold them on the headbands like that, which is the most compact method of storing these. So they go into a reasonably small space considering their size like that. And they also fold flat like that. So you can, and that's how they store in the case. They come with a fairly durable carry case, which they will only fit inside in their smallest, so they obviously expand at the headband like that expands, but you have to push it down into its smallest position and fold them for it to fit in the case. And that's kind of annoying, the fact that you have to adjust this to be able to get them back in the case, but it's not unusual. And you know, I actually use them like that myself. I find it just easier just to fold them like that and put them in my bag. One problem with the storage, on the storage side of things, is that although the headphones go into this position, they go into this position far too easily. And you need some kind of locking mechanism to go click and lock them into this position, because they just kind of just like this in your hand. You know, you're trying to hold them and then they just do this and they flop round and fall out of your hands. And this movement is just too easy to do. They just move round. You want this to either be more difficult to move or for them to go click and maybe a little release or something. I don't know. Just an extra mechanism there to lock them in this position, keep them a little bit more sturdily in this position, and then kind of go clunk into this position. But rather than just being all like, oh, you'll know if you hold them. They're just too kind of floppy in the ears. Comfort-wise, I think it's really important that headphones are comfortable. It's likely that you're going to be wearing them for extended periods of time, and they've just got to be right. And these are comfortable. They were a little bit tight to start with, so I found myself doing this a few times, trying not to break them, of course, but stretching it out, just trying to loosen them up a bit around my head because they are quite tight on your head. However, this really nice thick ear pad makes for it's just really comfortable around your ear. They're very nice and very comfortable to wear. There's just one problem, and that is the tight headband. Coming back to the tight headband again, when they're on your head like this, I'll just adjust them to the correct size for me, or ish. So I would wear them like this, and when I put them down like that, I find that pulling around my neck there is just too tight. It's like, it's really restrictive and uncomfortable, and I like to have my headphones like that. If I'm at work or something and I've got music on and then someone says something, I like to be able to just chuck them down to my neck. But on your neck like that, they're quite uncomfortable, and I found myself taking them off and putting them down on the table. Not a big deal really, because the comfort with it being tight like this is great. It's nice to have a lightweight headphone, which they are. They come in about 250 grams, so they're fairly lightweight. A lightweight headphone on your head and very cozily fitted to your head. So that works well, but of course with that comes the tightness around your neck as well, which I don't like. Connectivity wise, there's not really much to say. It's Bluetooth. I'm afraid there's no aptX with these headphones. It's just standard Bluetooth 4 protocols. Bluetooth pairing works well every time. You can also connect them via a 3.5mm jack there if you want to just go directly into any kind of headphone out. But there's not too much to say. Simple to pair and it works each time. It's great. Battery life, because they're big, these things can carry a 500 milliamp battery, which means that you can get, quoted by Mixcder anyway, because as I say, my 2 battery tests were messed up by the fact that I had the noise cancellation on. But you can get 30 hours out of these when the ANC is off and 24 hours with the ANC on, which is some impressive battery time. Even if they're not up to that, even if they're 10 hours off that, that's still some decent battery time out of these headphones. They take a couple of hours to charge. I had no problem. I plugged them into my laptop, charging them at work the other day. So I think, just a standard laptop port out, USB port, not like a kind of high power one. And they charged, and it took no time at all to charge, a couple of hours at the most. And that's pretty good considering how big a runtime you then get out of that charge. They are budget headphones, coming in about £50–60. And you can tell with the build quality because they don't use any sort of super premium materials. These aren't leather, these ear cups here, the pads or the ear pads, and there's no kind of nice anodized aluminium finishes anywhere. They're plastic, right? They're made of plastic, but it doesn't matter because the plastic makes them lightweight and the plastic's nicely finished. It hasn't got any kind of sharp edges or poorly molded sections as you can sometimes see on some really like awful quality products. These are nicely made, nicely finished, and they feel good in the hand. They feel solid enough. In the UK, most mobile phone calls, whether it be, in fact now in 2019, network to network, same network calls and also interconnect calls, they use high bandwidth codecs. That's kind of a more recent thing, and it still isn't the case when the signal's not too good. You still have the difference between a call sounding like someone's almost in the room with you and a call that just sounds like a phone call, that normal kind of slightly muffled sound. So you can be on a mobile phone and you can be talking to someone that sounds crisp and clean. The Bluetooth codec in these that's used for calling doesn't support high bandwidth, so you will always have that normal phone sound, that slightly bandwidth limited, muffled, not muffled as in it is clear, you can understand it, phone sound to it. You can't avoid that. That's part of the Bluetooth codec and it's a limitation of the headphones. I say that and that sounds like a bad thing, and while it'd be nice to have the kind of really crisp, clear sound as well, I used these on every call for 2 weeks and not once did anyone say you're too quiet or did anyone have any problem understanding me. And I think that type of usage speaks much more speaks volumes compared to me just saying, well, yeah, they don't have this codec, they're not quite as crisp and clear. If people can understand you and you can get your work done on the phone, then that's what counts, isn't it? So for call quality wise, no problem. They worked well and everyone could hear what I was saying. Noise cancellation, well, it works well. It's very effective. It's actually not as aggressive as other headphones that I've tried. I find that some people report that they actually get nausea from noise cancellation. I've never experienced that, but I do kind of know what they mean. There is a sort of pressure almost on your ears when that noise cancellation takes effect. The actual sound that it puts into your ears to cancel the incoming sound it's a very particular sort of feeling in your ears. And these don't appear to be as aggressive. As a result, maybe they don't cancel quite as much, but you don't get that effect, and it's just really nice and clean. You turn it on and you can quite clearly hear the reduction in noise as you make the switch, as you flick the switch on the side. But yeah, it's not too aggressive and it's comfortable to use. So that's a big plus. The noise cancellation works great on these. Do these sound any good? Well, the answer is yes, they do. They're not up to the standard of headphones maybe 3-4 times the price, but they sound really, really nice. I was very pleasantly surprised when I put these on. I can't demonstrate it to you. I can't show you. You just have to take my word for it. There's no way of doing a review of this sort of thing. I can start talking to you about some of the best features. Okay, so I'll try and describe what the good features are. The treble is nice and clean. The bass is very deep. These cover from 20 to 20 hertz up to 20k. And I was sort of thinking, right, do they actually cover 20? Will you get stuff as low as that? And I was listening to some vocal, it was like I think it was a news report. And there was something happening, obviously, outside on that news report that their mic had picked up. So, just a car starting, that background, that really deep bass. And I could hear that. And it made me take my headphones off, thinking there was like a helicopter flying over in the office. And it wasn't at all. And it was just these headphones clearly reproducing that exceptionally low bass. And for that, it's the 40mm drivers help with that. And I think these they're not going to let you down. There's a slight odd thing where when you turn on the active noise cancellation, it changes the EQ of the sound quite substantially, and I can never decide whether I prefer it with them on or with the noise cancellation on or with it off. But either way, it's okay with both. I think with it on, it brings out the mid-range a little bit more. The sound is a little bit clearer. They probably just have to kind of compensate for the fact that you've got other audio frequencies coming in, so they have to bump others up to kind of compensate for that. I don't know, I'm not quite sure how that works. But either way, these sound good. They certainly sound good enough, and they sound very good for the price. So overall, these headphones are not going to suit everybody. If you're after a pair of headphones to make a fashion statement, if you're someone who's going to insist on a pair of, I don't know, Beats or, most of my headphones personally are Sennheiser headphones. I like the Sennheiser designs. I like the brand. I trust the product. And I just like their stuff. They're not going to be for everyone, these headphones. But if you are either on a budget, you just don't need to spend, you don't feel the need to spend too much money on a pair of headphones, you want something that you can sort of chuck about a little bit more, and you're not too worried about the cost, and you just want a decent pair of headphones. I gave these to my 5-year-old to wear when he was watching a film, and these are great for him. These fit. I mean, he's got a fairly big head, but when I put them into their smallest position like that, they fit perfectly well on his head, and he was absolutely happy with them. I may even still give these to him to use as his headphones if he wants them. Might look a bit strange on his head, but but the point I'm making is that these are a great all-round headphone. If you've got any questions, anything that you think I haven't covered or didn't cover well enough or whatever, then just leave them in the comments and I'll see what I can do, because I do have a bit of experience with these now. I try to make my reviews based on actually using a product for a period of time rather than just kind of looking at the specs and going, these are all right. So yeah, I have actually used these and have experience with them. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.